Hey everybody, Stephen Bogran here from Pro Physique, and today I'm talking about how to break through those weight loss plateaus.
My name is Steven, and this is a video about health and fitness things. And I work for Pro Physique, and I am just a guy with a fitness thing for you.
Alrighty, I hope you're all having a absolutely wonderful day today. A great topic. Really something that we want to discuss because it gets frustrating. How many of us have been there? How many of us have been dieting hard and we're working and we're doing the cardio and we're lifting the weights and the body's just going not responding. We were losing weight, we were seeing progress, and then all of a sudden something happens and poof, stopped, and it feels like we're just bashing our head against a brick wall. Why? Why is nothing happening, and how do we get things moving again? And it's a great question because it matters. So I want to talk about a few things that I like to do and implement into dieting procedures to try and break through weight loss plateaus, as well as some reasons for why I think we see those happen. Let's start with the first thing, the funnest thing, which is a diet break. What does that mean, and how do we implement that to help break through weight loss plateaus? So say that you have been dieting for a while now. You've been slowly decreasing calories or increasing cardio and activity, and you've been really on it, and you know that you've been on it. You know that there hasn't been any kind of crazy changes. Everything else has been pretty stable. We've been dieting for a while. Well, a diet break can be a really great opportunity to try and get things moving again without actually decreasing calories or increasing cardio. And in fact, it's the opposite. And so what I like to do for a diet break is I like to go ahead and try and half or get about to half cardio. So if we've been doing, for instance, an hour of cardio a day, we're gonna drop that down to 30 minutes a day. Sounds easy, right? Well, right, it is easy. It makes life a little bit easier. And then along with that, what I also like to do is, if we were doing any kind of refeeds or different calorie days, I'm just gonna go ahead and give you one calorie goal to hit or one macronutrient split to hit for the week as a whole. And generally what that's gonna mean is fats and protein are gonna stay pretty stable, but I'm gonna make an increase to carbohydrates. And it's probably not gonna be going back to what you had for your starting numbers. It's probably a little bit more aggressive, but it is going to be a nice increase. And so for somebody that's maybe really dieting hard, and say, for example, we're at 100 carbs a day, and that's what we've been dieted on and we're refeeding, maybe I'll go up to anywhere between 140 to 180 carbs per day, leaving protein and fats the same. And it will depend on the individual, so for those numbers. And again, if maybe your carbs were a little bit higher, maybe we can be a little bit more aggressive, and that number is also a little bit higher. But generally speaking, what this does is it helps with metabolic rate, right? It helps to kind of get things moving again, can help with hormones, can help with your recovery, and a whole slew of other physiological kind of adaptation things that we see from the dieting process. And then a lot of times what we may see is, particularly with a moderate diet break, a lot of people will have a nice big weight drop. Some people might start now losing that weight, breaking through that plateau, continuing to see progress, eating more and doing less. And it's just because your body's able to keep up with the recovery demand there. So diet breaks can be a absolutely wonderful thing. And if you've been in a plateau, you're like, man, this isn't working, a diet break may be a really good option for you. You don't necessarily have to be at a really aggressive intake or expenditure number either to utilize a diet break. Particularly if you have more time and you have maybe more weight to lose and your calories are still reasonably high, but you're seeing that plateau, you could still try a diet break there and see if when you come off that diet break, we start seeing progress there again. And it can be something that's really nice to extend the life of a diet, but also to just make it suck a little bit less. So the diet breaks are a huge thing for me in terms of how do we kind of break through plateaus and make sure that we're doing the right things. So how do we normally know if we need a diet break? Well, you'll have the calorie decreases, you'll have the cardio increases, right? So you know that those are happening. But we can also see some like physiological stuff like fatigue, irritability, poor sleep, really big changes to libido, performance decrements. pretty much all the stuff that goes into the same bin of overtraining, or under recovery, whatever you want to call it, those are really good indicators that it might be a good time for a diet break, particularly when we pair those with the fact that we're no longer seeing response. Bing, yes. Refeeds are another way that we can help to kind of break through plateaus sometimes. So maybe we're a little bit afraid of, oh, I don't know that I want to go full diet break. I'm not quite comfortable with that. Or I'm not maybe feeling like I'm being aggressive enough with my diet. We can do a refeed, a double refeed, whatever it might be, to try and facilitate some progress there. So if we feel like we're really food focused, we feel like we're not recovering, the week's been tough, the refeeds can do a couple of things. One, it gives us that proverbial carrot on the stick, that thing at the end of the road, right? Oh, I just got 2 more days and I got a refeed. And that can be super helpful, but it can also provide us some of the same benefits as a diet break. And so what we'll do is, normally for me, on a refeed, I'm gonna try and get calories up probably anywhere from 150 to 400 total calories, depending on the individual. Very cool. I'm probably gonna lower protein a little bit. I may or may not lower fats a little bit, depending where they're at. And I'm gonna have that calorie increase being mainly from carbohydrates. And that's how we do a refeed. And so say you're maybe a little bit more hesitant to do something like a diet break, a single refeed or a double refeed may be a good opportunity for you to try and break through that plateau as well. Same kind of things. It's gonna help us to get better training, it's gonna help us to get better cardio, it's gonna help us to get more steps in a day and more expenditure in general. It can also help with some of the other stuff in terms of hormones, metabolic rate, and just making sure that things are good. So refeed, also another great option for how to help break through a plateau. What I would say is, if you're gonna do a single refeed, probably okay to be on the more aggressive side, on higher calories. If you're gonna do a double refeed, I would definitely do that on the lower side. I do like the double refeed option better, just personal preference though. Now, some other ways that we can break through plateaus that we aren't talking about yet are things where maybe things have changed. Maybe we've really been tired, or our sleep has been poor, or we're moving and we're stressed out. We're going through a home renovation. When we're talking about diet breaks and refeeds, they can absolutely still apply and still help for us in these scenarios that I'm about to discuss. However, those in and of themselves, what I was talking about before, is saying everything has been stable, we know nothing's changed. Some of the other reasons that we start hitting plateaus with weight loss is other things are changing that we haven't recognized. The big one for me is oftentimes your non-exercise activity. Things like step count, boom, go down. Because guess what? When we diet, we probably have some less energy, or maybe a little bit more fatigued. Maybe we're a little bit more irritable, right? Those things kind of do tend to come with that process. So one of the big things that we see, and particularly when we diet really hard or make really significant changes, is that our step count and our non-exercise activity changes. So we don't take the dogs for the walk. We don't get up to do the dishes or to change the channel. All these other things where we're moving, remember this is calories, right? We're no longer doing. So even though we cut in our calorie intake, we also cut in our expenditure. And so sometimes those things just kind of even out and cancel each other out. So we do want to be aware of that exercise and non-exercise activity, both. They matter. What we can also see is when we cut really hard is that our exercise in and of itself can lose calorie expenditure. And we will normally see this when we see performance decrements, right? So we want to be aware of what that means in terms of, we still want to get good workouts, we want to be strong, we want to lift hard. Again, diet breaks, refeeds, both can be really beneficial with this. Sleep and stress is another big one that a lot of us don't like to pay attention to because they are not easily solved. They're not easy to deal with. But your sleep health matters exorbitantly a lot in terms of your ability to lose body fat and lose weight. So making sure that not only are we getting enough sleep, but our sleep is quality is another great way for us to help break through plateaus. Oftentimes, if we find that we're not sleeping well, we're not getting enough rest and recuperation, that weight tends to get a little bit sticky, tends to be rough. Same thing with our other recovery factors, making sure that we're managing stress. Remember, all of this is stressful on the body. Exercise is physiological stress. We're lifting weights, cardio, whatever it might be, right? Dieting, losing weight and gaining weight are stressful on the body. So we do have to make sure that because our stress pool is going to be both physiological and psychological stress, that we're doing the right things to manage both of those as well as possible. This can again help us to break through plateaus. And then my last one, because I know I'm talking a lot, is your water intake. Go, 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 glug, glug. Make sure you're getting enough water. We need water for good digestion. We need water for pretty much everything in our body. And remember, we're mostly water. We have a lot of water in us. So making sure that we're getting enough fluids in is going to be really super important. This is also going to be partly, and make sure you're getting enough electrolytes and sodium. Also really important for digestion, really important for all of our healthy muscle functions. Again, making sure we're getting good workouts and burning those calories that we want to burn. Woo! And getting nutrients to the muscle. I'll wrap it up there. Easy ones, diet breaks and refeeds. Not so easy ones, sleep, stress management, and water intake. And these are some of my favorite ways and favorite things to look at to break through those weight loss plateaus and get those pounds goings downs.